Is it still raining? It's been raining all day. Where are my notes? Hello, my name is Lindly. It's very nice to meet you. I've been so excited. I am the native life form expert, or at least I'm studying to be here at Gaia's Landing. I apologize that things have been a little rushed, I guess. I suppose our scout patrols didn't expect to be able to capture, bring you to Gaia's Landing. So everybody's a little excited, I think. So I think one of the scouts mentioned that you were possibly telepathic. You could read minds, but I don't know. They had mentioned that somehow you understood what was going on, I guess. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm still in awe that we actually were able to find one of you. So, how do I even explain this? I'm just going to debrief you a little bit. Maybe this is a little overboard, but I'd really rather treat you respectfully from the get-go. But, so it looks like our scout patrols were just outside of Gaia's Landing, investigating a spot of xenofungus when they came upon you. Now it looks like they don't really have any weapons, so they weren't necessarily able to engage that way, but they did approach you, and in that effort they mentioned that you were willing to go with them, right? Okay. Alright, that's interesting enough. So the thing they did notice is that they were investigating a patch of what we've been referring to as the ruins, right? So they found you right by one of the monoliths, and after you passed through one of the monoliths, you were able to evolve, in a word? Right. So your boil status had gone from just like larva to, a little more substantial. I guess they're calling it pre-boil. From pre-boil to boil status. I know it's a little bit of an off term, but that's what we've got going on so far. So that's when they called me in. So welcome to Gaia's Landing. Gaia's Landing was started by Lady Skye of Gaia's Stepdaughters. So when we crash landed on Chiron, this is what we came upon, and this is where we settled. So we've noticed, I guess what we've been calling you is mindworms, but we've noticed you passing through different places. Sometimes you'll appear, sometimes you'll disappear. We've also noticed another xenofungus formation, I suppose, a sentient fungus formation known as Isles of the Deep. And there's also some hypotheses whether a third life form is also in existence, but I know that's a lot of information. What my job here is to get some information on you in the way of examination. So I'm just gonna sanitize my hands real quick. I'm not sure, maybe we should establish that first. So do you have a way of telling me yes as in yes or no? So an affirmative? Okay, that works. So you can understand what I'm saying.
Oh man, that is strange.
Okay. All right. And what would be the way that you would show me a no or a negative response? Okay, very good. That's very helpful. Hear that? I know there's some crazy storms here on Chiron. I mean, from what I remember, there were a lot of storms on Earth as well, but I think Chiron really takes the cake. So I'm going to sanitize. There we go. I want to protect you as much as I protect myself, so I'm also going to pop on a pair of gloves, okay? I know, I'm trying not to be super informal here, but we don't really know too much about you, about what's going on. I mean, I would rather be respectful, but God, imagine if Morgan or even worse, Miriam had found you. I mean, Miriam probably, I don't think she would have taken you into the Believers' headquarters. I think she would have just shot you on the spot when she couldn't convert to her religion. Morgan would have found the highest bidder, I think. It's all about the economy. Not so much about military, which we have been finding out quite recently. All right, there we go. So we're gonna start with trying to do some vitals, okay? If you can help me out in any way, shape, or form, I'm only going off of your basic anatomy here. I don't know a lot about it, so if you could help me out, that would be great. Let's try a temperature check. So I've only been able to acquire an oral thermometer. Been a little strapped for energy reserves lately, so haven't been able to make, some of the more tools of minutia, but I'm hoping, is there a way that I can use this? On a human, it would go in your mouth. Okay, I'm just gonna turn that on. There we go. I want to get a baseline temperature. I assume you're in general good health, right? For one of your status. That's what I thought. Okay. Interesting. So your core body temperature is quite a bit lower than the humans. There we go. Okay, so let me just note that down. It's going to be a lot of note taking, I'm afraid. There we go. All right. And let's see. I think that let's go ahead and grab your pulse and your blood pressure. So I'm just going to bring the stethoscope, or not the stethoscope, the blood pressure cuff over here. And I would like to take your pulse, okay? All right, so on humans, we would take this generally at the radial artery, right on the wrist here. So I don't know if maybe one of your, I'm not sure what you would like me to call them. Okay, I'm just going to, I suppose, wrap my hands around that. Oh. Okay, so the pulsations, that's pretty strong. All right, well, I'll do my best to count those.
Why is this so warm? This pulse is insane.
Okay, wow, all right. So you have a much higher resting pulse than most humans would. All right, so that's about 120 beats per minute. All right. Okay, well, we can work with that. So now I'm going to use this on humans. We wrap it around the arm. I think that if I just go up a little bit from your appendage here, that I can probably grab a blood pressure. I'm not sure if, like, earthworms, you have multiple hearts, but we're just gonna kind of see what's going on. Okay? All right, so I'm gonna wrap this around your appendage. Okay. And just going to grab the dial here. So the pulsations were strong enough that I think I can just feel your arm and feel when that pulsation stops. Okay, I won't have to bring out the stethoscope, that's a lot nicer. Okay, so it'll be quite firm. Okay. Alright, and I'm just going to release that until pulsations start back up. Okay, and I'm going to let that go all the way. Very good. I'm just going to do that one more time just to make sure. I'm going to let that fall. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to take off the sphygmomanometer, as it's called. And I'm just going to write that down. So in addition to a high for a human pulse, you also have a high blood pressure, which doesn't really surprise me. I mean, again, we don't know exactly what your baseline is, so you're the first. There we go. Okay. So let's go ahead and grab the stethoscope. I want to take a listen to your heart. If you could just point me in the general direction of where your heart or your nearest heart is, that would be exceptional. Okay, so right here. So I'm just going to ask you to please hold still for me. Just hold still.
Oh, this is odd. I kind of like it though.
Just listening. So I can definitely hear different valve sounds in your heart. So, are there other hearts that you have that you're aware of? Okay. And where's that at? Here? Okay. Just want to listen around this heart as well. I know it's a little close. But I want to try to figure out everything that we can about you. The whole faction is just buzzing. They're really looking to me to figure out this big mystery. Lady Skye had mentioned that it's a possibility that we ask for your assistance. Currently, there's a vendetta against CEO Morgan, and it's looking like it may come to blows with Miriam and the believers as well. Are there any other hearts that you have? Okay, and that's right here. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose we'll get through this examination first before we talk about battle plans. I told Lady Skye that it's perhaps a little too early to talk about that with a life form that we've just met. It's a little strange. Okay, so I have to ask, are you aware of having any lungs, anything? I assume you breathe. I mean, you move even when stationary. Okay, so all right, let's take a little look then. While I'm searching, if you could take a deep breath in for me and out. Deep breath in, out. Okay. Deep breath in and out. Deep breath in and out. Okay. Deep breath in and out. 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 Good. Good. That gives me quite a bit of information, I think. Let's see. Just gonna write some notes down. This is both much weirder than I thought it was going to be, and also not. There we go. So I want to take a little listen. I assume you have a digestive tract. We have noticed the remnants of things, and due to not finding many other life forms other than yourself in the Isle of the Deep in the seas, we're assuming that's what you eat. I would like to feel around a little bit if I could, if you don't mind. Okay. I'm going to be very careful, very gingerly with it, okay? I just want to see if I can feel for certain organs. I know I'm a little off base, but I'm also going off of the general anatomy of earthworms. We'd started looking into them. There was just very little information in the data links on how to proceed. Oh, we're doing the best we can here. You probably know a lot more than I do, really. I wish there was a way to be able to communicate better. So, I may just talk a little bit here, and you can respond if you so choose, but we've noticed so far that the mindworms seem to have life cycles, right? And as far as we can tell, they're essentially immortal just because we haven't seen any corpses at all. And so far, we've seen, I believe there's 6 or 7 life cycles, but we've only seen the last 2 maybe once, and I don't know that really it was anything to actually, confirm. I know for sure I've seen many accounts corroborating about a mature boil size, but I don't know. I mean, I know you can't give me too much info right now, but perhaps at some point we'll be able to confirm or deny that. We're aiming to preserve as much of planet as we can without raising the whole thing. There we go. Okay, so I've found some organs that I'd like to have a listen to, if you don't mind. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to come in and I'm just going to take a listen here. You don't have to do anything except for breathe normally. Just trying to figure out your anatomy without going to invasive measures. Don't really want to do that. I mean, with the amount of intelligence that you've shown us, and I think that we can figure out a way to work together. I know Lady Skye isn't opposed to just letting you go back to doing whatever you mindworms do. But it would be beneficial, I think, for both parties if we were able to obtain some information from you about your kind, about planet, and in turn we can protect you and ensure your survival. I mean, we're not really a warlike sort of people. I suppose we're on par with Brother Lau, the Peacekeepers, but I imagine if you had come into contact with the Spartans, they would have just killed you on sight. But, I don't know, Colonel Santiago is one of those just shoot first, ask questions later, so I guess. But that's such a earthly way of living. I mean, we destroyed the last planet. You'd think that perhaps we'd want to change our ways, but alas. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to take down some notes. We'll see what else we can glean from you.
I'd better get a promotion for this. This is probably the biggest breakthrough since we made landfall.
Let's see. Alright. So, as much as it scares me, I would like to take a look inside your mouth-like orifice. There's a lot of sharp teeth, and I don't want to get too close, but I would like to try to. There we go. I would like to try to see that a bit. Yeah, gosh, that would be scary. I know that you've currently not even moved a muscle to do me any harm. The scout patrol had mentioned that you almost seemed just as curious about us as we were about you. So I think that's a good start to a prospective alliance, right? Rather than going with guns and teeth a-blazing. Right, so I know you can sense me. I mean, you move in a way that you're aware of where I am and if I'm coming too close. But I'm not seeing any eyes necessarily. Do you have eyes? Okay, so I suppose that also gives us a little bit more information into the possible telekinetic powers that you possess. Just that divine sense of where everything is. I wonder if it's, it can't be echolocation because you haven't really been making any sound here. Just the occasional hiss, I suppose. But it's very strange. This planet, Chiron, just operates on completely different rules. Who would have thought that there was a sentient fungus that birthed such creatures such as you? It's it's thrilling, isn't it? Oh gosh, if I had found something like this back on Earth, if Earth was still a thing, I imagine just from what I heard, it would have been absolutely the talk of the entire planet. But here we have to keep you very secret, very safe. Can't let anybody know. Gosh, imagine if Zakharov had gotten access to our files. We've already killed off a few of his probe teams. Thank God for the hunter-seeker algorithm, right? But he keeps pushing and pushing and pushing to get more technology, and it's been too much. But Lady Skye wants to deal with Morgan and then possibly Miriam before we set our sights on Zakharov. Alright, let's see. Okay, I want to do a little sensation test with you. So I want to see if you can hear, essentially. I know you can sense movement, and you obviously know what I'm saying, but I'm wondering if it's just because you're in my mind, possibly, or if you can actually hear the outside world. So I have a little noisemaker here, and if you can hear this, and not, I suppose it would technically be sensing the vibrations in the air, but I want to determine if you just feel vibration or if you can actually hear, So just let me know. I know your affirmative and negative signs, so just let me know. Okay. Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Good. And what if I go behind you a bit? Can you hear this? Okay. Let's try it again. Can you hear this? What about this? Okay. I'm going to try to strike this and hold it farther away. I want to test a little bit of distance hearing here. Can you hear this? Okay. How about this? Okay. Let me see. Let's test your sense of direction a bit. So with one of your appendages, if you could just point in the direction that you think the noise is coming from. Okay, good. 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 Okay. So definitely there is some direction sense, which is good. I want to test if you can feel the vibrations. So when I strike this, there is vibration and that's what you hear. So I want to see if we can try to differentiate the vibration versus the sound, which sounds a little silly because they're technically the same. But I'm going to strike this and I'm going to put it on you. I mean, if you want to hold out one of your appendages here. There we go. So I'm going to place it on you and I want you to tell me that you can feel it, okay? Can you feel that? Okay. Can you feel that? Okay. Can you feel that? Good. Okay. So was that the same sensation as when I was asking about your hearing? So when I held the tuning fork away from you, was it the same sensation as when I touched you with it? Okay, so it was the same. So you're more sensing vibration then, as opposed to potentially actual hearing. We'll have to do some more tests with that, I think. But that's very interesting.
I'm quite curious to see what the outcome of this situation is. I feel like we can learn so much from the Mindworms.
I mean, I would ask to examine your ears, but it's been established that you don't have any ears or eyes. Let's see. There's not really any sort of need to test any reflexes because we don't know for sure if you have a brain, and we don't really know where we would test those reflexes on. So I think this one's off the table. I think really all that I have left is I want to assess the exterior of your appendages. I want to look at the texture. So I've got a magnifying glass here. And I may also use my Penlight here so that we can essentially see what you're made of. If it's okay with you, I'd like to take a small sample of cells from your exterior. All right? It wouldn't hurt at all. It's just scraping you a little bit with a wooden specimen stick. But I really want to see what exactly you're made of. I mean, for example, back on Earth, there was a thing called a snake, which was made up of scales, and some of them had tails made of keratin. And keratin was a pretty common material of life forms, and humans have keratin growing from their heads and their fingers and toes. Call that hair, and hands and feet, those would be finger and toenails. So keratin's pretty common there, but we're operating on Chiron's rules here, and we don't know for sure if there is a similar sort of substance, or if this is just what your skin is. There's quite a tough exterior to it. I mean, Chiron has all these sorts of weather events that humans wouldn't be able to survive unless they had protection, so it makes sense that you have that extra bit of protection. But just what exactly is that material that you're made of? I'm not sure. But with your permission, I'd like to take a little sample so that we can analyze it. I would just use this to scrape a little bit of cells from your exterior, just a little like that. Like that, just like that. if that's okay with you. Okay, so I'm just going to striations on your exterior, making it a little difficult. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to plop that into the specimen case. Okay. I think really that's about all I can do here. I really want to get a jump start on analyzing that material, and I think probably you've had enough of being poked and prodded. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think this is going to be one of the more non-invasive examinations. We have to take a draw and see if you have any sort of blood or, life fluid that your hearts are pumping, and determine what that's made of. And I think I'll just, start with that, and then we'll see where we can go from there. So I apologize. It might be a bit of pain involved, but then you can also tell us if you have the receptors for pain. I mean, was any of this irritating or painful in any way? Okay. Yeah, it doesn't... I mean, I suppose I've heard the screeching at night, but I didn't know if it was just more of an alarm system or if it was, a pained screech or what. So I suppose we'll get to the bottom of it. So I think that's really all we can do here. So thank you for allowing me to take up some of your time and try to figure out what you are, what's going on, and hopefully I'll be able to convince Lady Skye to acquiesce to whatever you want or need, okay? So I wish we could communicate further, but that may be something that we can do along the lines, okay? Alright, so I'm going to leave you be, and this room is private. Nobody else knows about it except for a select few, so you shouldn't be bothered unless it's by me, or shouldn't be any of the interns. And I don't think Lady Skye herself would come down, not for a little bit yet. So it should be only me, okay? Alright, thank you so much for letting me examine you. I look forward to doing some more in the future, and hopefully we can find a partnership together. Alright? Thank you again. I'll see you later.